Hey friends, this is Pam. So today I am working on a hybrid scrapbook layout using digital supplies that I have printed from Ali Edwards Design. These supplies are from the August 2018 Digital Stories by the Month kit, and you can see they're really bright and colorful and fun and perfect for summer stories. So the story that I want to tell today is one about our first visit to Canada's Wonderland, which is like the closest theme park to us in our area here. We did this in July a couple weeks ago, and the thing that was inspiring me for this particular layout was one that one of my fellow creative team members, Jenny Ray, posted about recently. She used a big map and used the 2021 travel collection to tell a story about a trip that they had taken. So one of our favorite things to do as soon as we get into the park, for my kids in particular, is to grab a map. Even though we've been there a bunch of times, they know the layout, they still like having their own copy of the map. So I scooped an extra one, and I'm going to use that to go ahead and tell the story of our day. The other thing I did was I printed out an enlarged photo. So this photo, once I crop it out, is sized to be 7 inches wide and 8.25 inches tall. And it's one of my kids on the swings. So there's my son and there's my daughter over there. I played with some filters on this just a little bit to make the colors a little bit more like, they remind me of like summer cotton candy, just kind of bright and fun and colorful. So I've done that with the photo. And then this is actually a 3x4 journaling card that I have enlarged. I'm going to make this like a fold over. So my plan is here that the right side will be this enlarged photo, the left side will be the map. I have printed a bunch of smaller photos that I want to put around the map to pinpoint the areas that we did these different activities. The photos, once I cut them out, will have a bit of a white border, and they will be about 1.5 by 1.5 inches. And then I've also done some journaling, and I'm gonna make these like almost like a folded over booklet. So the photo will be on the front. You can open it up and you can read a little bit of a story about what was going on or what we were doing in that area. So that's going to fold open, and this is going to be the cover of the left side of the spread. So I've got all my pieces printed and ready to go, and I'm just going to get started on assembling. One of the things that I learned, and I want to say the last 1.5 to 2 years, that has been super helpful is how to get these little light colored lines so I know where I'm supposed to trim things out when I'm printing something white onto a white background. So I'm going to take just a second and show you how to do that for yourself. One of the most helpful tricks that I have learned in hybrid scrapbooking in the last 2 years or so, because I'm always learning something, was how to put an outside border on a white background when I have something that I want to print so that I know where to cut. So I thought I'd do a quick tutorial to show you how I do that. I am working in Photoshop Elements. I believe this is version 2020. And what you see on the screen right now is just a 4x6 canvas. And I've got 2 examples of items that I would like to print but maintain a white border and then have an outline so that I know where to print them. So I'm going to drag and drop this little block of journaling here onto my canvas and just reposition it anywhere I want on the page. So I'm going to click off for a second. So you can see if I run this through my printer, when I hover over it, I can see where the outlines are of this layer, but when I don't have the arrow or the cursor hovering over it, then I really have no idea. And obviously it's not going to print those blue lines because they aren't actually there. So what I want to do is select the layer over in the Layers panel on the right-hand side, and up at the top of my menu here, I'm going to go to Layer, and I'm going to look for the Layer Style, and I'm going to select the Style Settings. So there's a couple of different effects that you can do here, but the one that we want to use is the one that says Stroke. So click on that checkbox. And I want to have an outside border here. So right now it's a very thin one, but it's also very dark because this is now going to be like a solid black border. So you have the option of changing the color, and I'm just going to click on a light gray color, which will be very subtle It won't be too dark or too bright when I print it, but hopefully you can see on your screen there now that there is in fact a very light gray border around the outside of that journaling block so that I know where to cut that out. I'm going to try it one more time with this photo. I've got a photo that's got kind of a white border around the edges. The square there is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, so I'm just dragging and dropping that from my project bin at the bottom up onto my canvas in Photoshop Elements. And since we've already put a gray border on this side, when you look over in the layers panel on the right-hand side now, you can see this FX symbol, and that means that a layer style or that outline has been applied to it. So a real quick shortcut to be able to repeat that without going through all of those steps again and to have the same color gray on each of them is to just right-click on that layer that has the layer style, select the option that says Copy Layer Style, and then click on my new layer with the photo, and I'm going to say to paste the layer style. And this has now automatically applied that very light gray border or outline to the outside edges of the photo as well, so that I'll know where to cut and crop this. So super handy little trick. Really glad that I learned that, and it has made things much easier for printing white text on a white background and adding multiple pictures and journaling blocks to a single page for printing. Okay, I'm going to get started on assembling the left side of this spread. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and crop out my pages first and try to build a base or a background for that map to fit inside of. Okay, so I've got some firm cardstock here, and this is going to be to support the map. So I know, so I've already trimmed it down, so it's 8.25 inches high. I want to mark the 7-inch mark and score it with my bone folder and scoring board. And that is going to be the inside there. And then the other thing is that this is then going to sit on the top of here. And I have intentionally not made this flap the same width because I need to make sure that there's room to punch holes on the right-hand side here so that this can fit in my album on the right. Go. And then I had an idea to create just like a little pocket on this edge here, so I want to put that on before I stick the map on the other side because I'm considering adding some stitching and I don't want to stitch through the map if I put that on too soon. Okay, so this was a 4x6 card from the same collection. I want to stick it right on the front here, and I am going to go ahead and add some stitching around the outside edges there. I'm going to use just a little bit of adhesive to secure it in place before I run it through my sewing machine. And then my plan is I have a family photo that I'm going to pair on top of that after I get it stitched down. And then the other thing I did is I took a picture of like our actual season's pass. If I had had just like tickets for the day instead, I probably could have tucked the tickets into this little pocket on the outside. Either one would have been really cute. Because we are hoping to be able to go back again, and we have been back again to the park since this first trip, I'm thinking that maybe what I'll do is on the back of this little season's pass, I think that I will stamp the dates of our visits. And then rather than having like a whole bunch of different spreads about going to the same theme park, it'll just be like a record of all of the times that we went this one season. Just tuck that in the top there. So on the back I can add some date stamping. Okay, I'm gonna go to my sewing machine. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I have run this little pocket through my sewing machine and stitched it down to really secure it. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is to go ahead and get that map cut down and fit into this space here. So obviously this is quite a bit larger than the space that I have behind it, but I think for the most part, just with some good cropping, I can still preserve most of the content there. So I'm gonna just go ahead and cut away here and do my best to get a good representation of the areas that we spent our most time. And I think that I can kind of just center it right along there. Definitely need to bring it down a bit. Okay, so fingers crossed. Wish me luck. Okay, so not perfectly straight, but really not terrible. And I mean, the reality is I'm going to be sticking my pictures all over top of this map anyway, so you're probably not going to see too much of a difference there. Okay, so my base is ready on the inside edge there. The other thing that I wanted to do was to grab a circle punch and then just add a little notch here to make it very, very clear that this like opens up. There we go. Cute. I think that looks good. Okay, so next I'm going to work on assembling my little pictures and fold over pieces here. Okay, so I've got my photos and my journaling all paired up together. On some of them, I'm going to have a photo on both the inside and the outside of the little flap there. So the next thing I need to do is to just assemble the rest of these together. So I'm just going to fold them over in half and stick the photo down on top. Okay, so I've got all of my little mini pics pieced together along with the stories. Now, some of them have got some space up top here where there wasn't additional journaling. It was just like a super quick comment, like when they saw Snoopy at the front entrance kind of thing. So one of the things I was thinking about, I went ahead and I printed a couple of the chipboard elements as well from the release, and I thought that they might be good to fill in some of those top pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and punch those out. This is a 1-inch circle punch. One. So there's not too many. I think it's really like 1, 2. I think it's really just those 2. Okay, so these are easy ones, and I'm gonna go ahead and put them right in the top there. I think that'll look cute. Okay, so my next thing is that these aren't going to necessarily all go directly on like the spot where they happened, but I want to kind of do like a string and geotag type of look to get them to where to point out the spots on the map that the different pictures took place. So I am going to go track down some supplies for that. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found my geotags. That took me a little longer than it really should have. But I've got them, and I am going to... I considered using thread, like actual thread, to connect the pieces. But I think that once it gets folded over, that might kind of get messy and possibly tangled. So I don't think that I'm going to do that today. What I am going to do is just try to make sure that for each of these pictures I pinpoint a spot on the map, and then I've got like a slick writer and my ruler, and I'm going to start with the geotags, pinpoint my spots, then pick stick down my pictures. Got some rolling adhesive, I'll do that. The other thing I'm thinking is that I just need to be mindful of where the actual fold is on here so that I don't stick something where it would make it like impossible to fold. Okay, so and then once I stick my pictures down, I'm gonna go ahead and draw the lines to those different spots. That's my plan. Okay, wish me luck.